everybody, David Pintaric here. One aspect of being a financial planner is that we're idea generators. And usually when people hear that, they think idea about investments. Well, that's a part of it. Really, it's more of talk about what if scenarios and how you want to prepare for it or even consider it. And these aren't just ideas that we generate ourselves. Understand that we have a network of other professionals that we talk with, and we also get ideas from our own customers. Their life stories teach us things that we could share with other people. We've got a network of a lot of very smart people that we do business with, and we learn from them and pass that knowledge on to you. So when we talk about accumulating wealth, one of the things that we bring up as people become successful accumulating wealth is asking, do they care about what happens to the money after either one or both parties are gone? And I'm looking at a traditional environment of a husband and wife. Do either party care what happens to the money that they've accumulated when both are gone or one of them gone? And let me give you some scenarios why. And sometimes I will tell you that the answer for some people is no, I really don't care. I would caution you from taking that approach because accumulating wealth takes work. It just doesn't happen. There's some discipline, there's some sacrifice, there's some effort, and there's some time. Accumulating wealth it's an asset that you want to protect, and you want to make sure that it's treated appropriately even after you're gone. But look at two scenarios, and we experienced that in my family. For some of you who don't know, my family is my mom and dad, and there was two brothers, myself and my brother. And it was very easy for my dad and my mom to take care of things because both Bill and me were both tied up in the family business. So the family business was an asset, so they didn't have to worry about how to handle a family asset that had one of the children was involved and one wasn't. That complicates things. When they're both involved, it makes things very simple. But it's something, if you've got a family business and you've got one or more children in it and one or more children out of it, it adds some complications. So you have to think about this. Typically, when you're talking with us, we're dealing with investment assets, so it's a little bit easier. You could divvy up things pretty much 50-50. So when both of you go, do you want to divvy up the money proportionally to your kids? And most people will say yes, that's the standard answer, that's the stock answer, but sometimes that's not always the case. And why would that be? An answer be maybe not. Every child, and usually we're talking about adults here, but every child's situation is a little bit different. Some are better stewards with their money than others. Some of them may have special needs. And some, like I was the favorite child. Maybe you want to treat one differently than others. And I mean that jokingly, at least with me. Mom and dad were always religious about how they treated both of us equally. And rightfully so. We both were involved with the family very, very closely and all that stuff. But that's not always the case. So, do you want to consider treating one or others differently? And do some need help after the fact? We've seen instances where people receive money unexpectedly, a large lump sum of money that they've never dreamt ever having, and they don't know how to handle it. You could do full-up studies on people who win large amount, millions of dollars in lotteries, and 36 months later, they're in worse financial position than they were before because they don't know how to handle it. So if you've got a child that may be in that situation, or you're suspected they may be in a situation, there are avenues to protect them from spending down the money unnecessarily that you worked hard to accumulate. We are not lawyers. We don't practice law. So we would talk with a lawyer about maybe setting up a trust. Again, a trust is a vehicle, but it doesn't have to be the only vehicle that can be used in something like this. Another situation, and I just talked about when both husband and wife die. What if one of them dies earlier in life and their marital assets, and the survivor eventually remarries? Would the first person that died, would they be concerned that new person in their husband or wife's lives get access to these assets undeservingly and maybe at the detriment of their kids? I will tell you that my wife will always say that if she dies before I do and I remarry, I have to give everything to our daughter because she doesn't want somebody coming in and taking our money and leaving Rachel out. We've seen this in society where it happens, and it doesn't mean somebody comes in your world with malicious intent, but sometimes the laws allow that. You've got to look at what your individual estate, the rules are. If you die without a will, consider a will. But these are things that you have to consider. And, these are kind of esoteric ideas, but they're ones that we see on a fairly frequent basis, especially the first one where mom and dad pass away, they've accumulated some wealth, and they distribute the kid to the 3 Jimmys and Johns and Janes. The kids go through it because they never had any money, they don't have any plan for it and all that stuff. And if you put an awful lot of work into accumulating that wealth, you don't want it squandered. And so these are just ideas that we talk about that, you may dismiss it, but also you may think, and it's like, okay, what do we do? And then we can take it from there. So again, just an idea, something to consider. I hope that you find these beneficial. Thank you.